bear with me. Well, welcome to the CIECAst. This is Fred Iantorno, Executive Director of CIECA. Before we begin, first some housekeeping. If during the presentation you have a question, please type it in the navigation bar on the web page. I will attempt to answer as many questions as possible. Thank you. Today's presentation will be an update on the projects and successes that CIECA, through its member volunteers, have accomplished in 2017 and a glimpse at the planned projects for 2018. So let's begin. All right. What we're going to do is briefly go through the mission and vision, talk about the accomplishments, and then take a look at the significant progress. As far as the mission, our mission has not changed. It's stated as on the website to develop electronic communication standards that allow the collision industry to be more efficient. Our vision is to have the e-commerce enabled collision industry that allows all industry segments to communicate electronically independent of platform or software used. All right. There's a 6-page document. You don't have to go get it right now, but you can view it at your leisure, and it's located at www.CIECAaccomplishments.com. It has a lot more information on it. This is kind of what it looks like. It's got the area, the accomplishments, who benefits from it, and what those benefits are. So this is a 6-page document that looks like this. I just loved David Letterman when he was on, and so I thought I would present this as the top 10 accomplishments and do them in the standard David Letterman format in reverse order. The number 10 one is the 2 BMS releases. All right. One of the things that we do is every year since 2004, we've published 2 new BMS releases. This year's were enhancements and maintenance to meet the ever-changing business requirements. This is something that I think too many people don't realize, that our volunteers spend a tremendous amount of time making sure that the standards are backward and forward compatible. What that means is that if I'm using a standard from 2 years ago and somebody's using the most current standard, okay, those two things can communicate together. Now, you may not get all the functionality, but the system won't break. All right, and that's very, very important to protect the money, and the investment that people have made in the systems. So that's a very important feature. We guarantee it. Backward and forward compatibility, but that's what that really means, and our volunteers spend a lot of time to make sure that that actually happens. Another thing that we do is we go through a quality assurance process for quality and accuracy, and these volunteers spend 3 days twice a year making sure that all the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted, and that everything matches and works as perfectly as possible. They do their best to do that, and I applaud them for it. The other thing that's available to all members at no cost to help move people from the legacy standard in EMS to the new BMS, there's a mapping spreadsheet which will save you thousands of dollars and thousands of hours. So take a look at that. So that's the 2 BMS releases. Now, number 9 is subrogation. Let me see if I can quickly explain what subrogation is to those that may not be familiar. Let's say I hit somebody else. My insurance company is supposed to pay for this, but let's say you decide you want to have your insurance company handle it, so your insurance company has it fixed. They pay for it. They come over to my insurance company and say, now you owe me this much money. That is what subrogation is all about. It's the whole process of recovering that money. So what we did was we had this year some enhanced insurer communication was placed in them. we implemented remittance for gross and net pay, and other net pay being, you owe me $100, I owe you $200. Therefore, we'll swap $100 and call it even. That kind of thing. We also implemented arbitration submission messages. Important when, let's just say, we can't come to those two insurance companies can't come to an agreement, so they need to go into arbitration to get these things settled out. And then, of course, once you do that, you need to do some enhancements for a subsequent arbitration, just like an estimate and then a supplement. This is the subsequent. Okay, and the number 8 accomplishment is something we've called CER, which is Combined Environmental Reporting. This is, I want to talk about this. This was started about 20 months ago. It's come a long way. The federal, if you think about this, since it's combined environmental reporting, there are federal government is involved, the state government is involved, county, city, all those levels. There are over 26,000 reporting entities, each having something a little bit different. So this group was able to do was take 205 of those permits, licenses, and reporting, and identify those for the standards to help bring this about. It's a huge task. Some dedicated volunteers. And they've broken it into 3 groups. One is the NFPA, National Fire Protection reporting group. The other is the OSHA reporting group, and the other is the EPA reporting group. So this group meets every week to move these things forward. This is all to help the repairers report and not get fined, but just to actually report to meet their requirements of reporting all of this information. So this group was working very hard. And now the number 7 group is the parts and materials procurement. This one has kind of been dormant for a while, but now we've come back with some new enhancements. People are implementing more and more of the parts and materials messages. So now they found out that they needed some enhancements to the part price change, and also in the no longer available parts. This wasn't being handled very well, and so through implementations, our members come back and said, we need to do this, and so that's what they did. They got together and started doing that. Always to remember what this parts procurement is all about. It integrates the OE parts, aftermarket parts, and recycled parts. And another real important function, and this helps on the back end, all right, is the integrated invoicing, remittance, and statement processing. That's all part of the parts and materials messages. And the number 6 accomplishment of 2017 is the inventory data standards for the very first time. This is something that's very huge, and it highlights it for the recyclers and for the repairers, if you think about it. All right, having the same information for all parts, and by having an inventory data standard, that the repairer can be assured that the same data fields are coming from the correct from all of the recyclers in the same way. That's very important. There are also some enhancements for assembly data and for future recall data. Recalls are very, very important, especially to the recyclers and to the repairers. You think about it, there's a recall on a part, or there's a recall on a vehicle, and a replacement part's been identified. That needs to come, that new part needs to be, replace that old part. So if the recyclers and the repairers need to be certain that they aren't being sold a part that's already been recalled. So that's a very important feature and function to this that was accomplished in 2017. All right, and of course, there's another one which is this is mainly for the recyclers to increase the parts recycled parts visibility. For those of you that are involved in this, there are some pumps and filters that take the inventory data that the IPs use to take the inventory data from the recyclers and put it into the availability their availability within the estimating platforms. And so the group worked very hard to increase the visibility of parts and make sure that parts that shouldn't have been filtered out are no longer filtered out. So that's the thing. And then of course integrating invoicing, because that's we need to be everyone needs to be paid to keep their business flowing, invoicing, remittance, and statements. And the number 5 is the CIECAst, which this is one of. We had great CIECAsts last year, and the Sika Symposium. All right, and this is the entire industry is invited, and it turns out that there's about a third of non-CIECA members that attend each year. Some become CIECA members, and that's good, and we thank them for that. They're the business and technical content, so there's something for everybody there. The topics are selected by audience surveys, and we've already had one survey. We'll probably have another one set up, and so forth. We're also already planning 2019. And then, of course, the CIECAst, there's replays on demand after the fact, and I'll mention that at the end. And the number 4 is the JSONBMS Standards. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. It's a mouthful. This is technology for the mobile devices. Okay, it is about 1/3 less. Has about 1/3 less on the technical overhead, if you will. The amount of information that gets packaged around the actual data itself. Real interesting thing is that there were no JSON schemas, and that mimic the XML schemas that are in use that we have and we publish. And in fact, nope, there wasn't any out in the marketplace. There was nothing that existed out in the marketplace. And one of our members developed a program to convert the XML schemas to JSON schemas. That is important, and we'll talk about why that is. Is that if the result then says that the same BMS standards are available for now mobile devices, so that when the groups develop the XML schemas, they immediately can, after that becomes ready to publish, they can create the JSON schemas so that you have the same data consistency independent of the device or platform that's used. And if you remember going back to what our vision was, that is exactly the same statement. Very important. And the number 3 is the first notice of loss. Here we want to reduce the claim cycle and repair cycle and claims cost. All right. We've added scan diagnostics this year, which is extremely important. And we've integrated the connected car, the phone, or any other Internet of Things device. All right. So this is what's driving the future in reality here. And the number 2, all right, which was brand new in 2017, is quarterly MSO summits. This is a platform for repairers to identify common business issues and propose solutions. This is extremely important to the to the repairs, and in fact, we'll talk about the number one reasons. They've had three areas of focus. Okay, one is emerging technologies, shop efficiency, both the front and the back end, and integration of systems that they saw. You probably saw the announcement, and there's been several downloads of it. The connected shop, that was a product out of these quarterly summits. Okay, so, and we think that there's a group that have been doing that. And the number one reason, or the number one accomplishment, was the integration of scans into the BMS. This went from idea in January of 2017 to a live standard in November of 2017. Extremely quickly. Now the scan diagnostics can be reported in the assignments, the first notice of loss, the estimates, the repair orders, and attachments. Okay. This was a repairer-led committee, and any file format is available. And this is extremely important because there are so many devices out there, some that produce XML, some that produce binary, some that produce PDFs, some that produce Excel type files. So all of those files, if it can be stored in the computer, it's included in the standard. That's extremely important. Okay, so that means no matter what device is there, and there's unlimited number of scans can be associated. It's not like it's just one. We know that throughout the whole repair process, there's a pre-scan, there's a post-scan, but then when you get involved in this thing, they have to do things what are called recalibrate, and a scan is needed in a number of recalibrations. You can see as the car becomes more and more complex, and it's just necessary to have all these things, but so that the number of scans, and then they've identified what this scan was at what point in the process. Was it during the repair procedure? Was it in a recalibration? Was it post-scan, pre-scan? All of those things. Very important. Extremely well-run, repair-driven news. So as you can see, CIECA and its members have had an exciting and productive year. So let's take a look at 2018. We're going to continue to work on subrogation, CER, parts procurement. A new photo estimating committee first met last month and is meeting on a weekly basis right now to investigate and implement standards in the photo estimating area. I mentioned before, when the scanning is a recalibration, and these are really important. This starts to get involved in the repair procedures. This one here, we're going to need OEM commitment to really get this going, and that's one of our focuses right now, is to seek that OEM commitment. So if there are any OEMs out there and wish to participate, please do. If you know of an OEM that should be participating, please give those people to Charlie or myself. We'll be looking at disposition enhancements for salvage, some more scanning enhancements along with the recalibration. Those two things kind of go hand in hand, yet they're separate. We're talking about some simple things as I was on a Mike Anderson webinar yesterday. One simple thing is when they needed to remove a bumper to get at some light, and the minute you remove that bumper, there's a recalibration that's necessary. So because you've got cameras, you've got the radar. associated with all of that. So that's really important. And also some enhancements in vehicle estimating for the different part types, because we're getting more and more different. The number of part types are expanding exponentially as these cars get more and more sophisticated. And of course, our main core competency is two new releases of the BMS in both JSON and XML format. So you can see we've got and then there's always new projects that come up during the year. Somebody has a great idea, and we move that forward. Just like scanning was a great idea, and we implemented that in 11 months from idea to publication. So those are the things that will come up, and we will, our members in CIECA will review and implement those and address those needs. So what I want you to remember, I've got 4 URLs here, and this will be in it'll be in the slides that you can get. But there's one that's the EMS to BMS mapping, and that takes you right to that document I talked about. For those of you that still need to know more about the BMS, there's a document that's located at understandingthebms.com. This is another area, instancedocuments.com, and there's more and more of these. These instance documents, instance is a technical term in the XML world. However, what this is actually test data. All right, so that when a company is developing a system or even maintaining a system, making changes, enhancements to a system, they need to run test data through it. These instance documents will provide that test data to our members, and they really do like this, and it helps them tremendously in saves them money and time. And then, of course, the document that I mentioned here at CIECAaccomplishments.com. Okay, I want to have you guys, everyone here, take a look at, and I invite you to our symposium. Mark the date, September 17th through the 19th. It'll be in Tampa this year. We've got a great program that the Education Committee is working on. It's probably about 3/4 filled right now, which is good. We're looking at some additional things, topics, and speakers. All right, and so we want to make sure that you have that. Let me see. I'm going to check some questions. Well, there's a question here that says, are CCC, Auditext, and Mitchell using BMS, or when will they implement BMS? All 3 of them are using it in the insurance segments. Okay, they are. Some of them are using it in the parts ordering process. It is. And CCC, this is not a commercial for it. This is just it's pretty well known that CCC is using it or will be using it come this April in its Secure Share product, but they will also be using the EMS. That's something that's done. By each one of the information providers. You need to ask them when their plans are. Let's see if there's another one. It says, will NASA be back? I'm not sure if they say yes, if they want it or not. We'll find out. We're looking at all kinds of things. Let me see. Trying to see here. Okay, I think that's it for the questions. So So what I want to do is thank everyone for keeping abreast of the CIECA developments. Our standards are built by volunteers from all the industry segments. For those of you that have contributed to our standards, we thank you. If you have not been involved and would like to participate, please contact Charlie Quirt or myself. As always, the video of this presentation will be available on the CIECA website within 24 to 48 hours. Thank you again for participating and have a great day. Bye now.